All right, let's dive right into this America's Cup action, huh?
Yeah.
4 races in, New Zealand's got this commanding lead over Great Britain. 4-0, we're going to unpack why.
Right.
I've been poring over this race data and some expert analysis, and it's pretty clear these teams are not messing around. It is worth mentioning that you included some YouTube shorts demonstrating this.
Yes.
So if you're listening and you want to visualize this, go check those out.
Definitely will help paint the picture.
Across the 4 races so far, the wind conditions have been relatively consistent.
Right.
We're talking like, what, around 9 to 10 knots?
About 9 to 10 knots, yeah. What I find fascinating is how much emphasis is being placed on these pre-start maneuvers.
Yeah.
Like, we're seeing New Zealand just nailing these intricate strategies, and it seems to be giving them a real edge, even before the starting gun.
Oh, totally. So you're saying these pre-start battles are almost like setting the stage for the whole race.
Absolutely.
And our source material points to a few key reasons for New Zealand's dominance so far. First off, race 1. Great Britain, they had that battery issue. It was basically over before it began.
Yeah.
It just goes to show, even with all this incredible technology, reliability can make or break you.
Oh, absolutely. Technical failure like that, it's like every team's worst nightmare, especially in a high-pressure situation like the America's Cup.
For sure. Then, races 2 and 3. The source, it highlights some tactical errors on Great Britain's part. Again, those pre-start sequences, they were crucial. We actually have some YouTube shorts linked in the show notes so you can see these maneuvers in action. They're wild.
Oh, yeah. It's one thing to read about these tactics, but seeing them play out on the water, it's a whole different ballgame. You really get a sense of the speed, the precision, everything.
Totally. Now, the third factor, and this seems to be huge for New Zealand, is their boat speed, particularly when they're tacking. There's this fascinating video analysis by Mossy Sales, also linked in the show notes, that breaks down how they're achieving these crazy fast tacks.
I'll be honest, I needed some help deciphering that one.
Yeah.
For us less technically minded folk.
Well, they're using this slightly different sheeting technique, right? Which basically means they're adjusting the sails more efficiently during attack. It's like, think of taking a corner in a car, right? The smoother you are with the steering, with the acceleration, the faster you're going to come out of that turn. New Zealand, they're doing something similar, but on the water.
So every time they tack, they're gaining a little edge. And over the course of a race, those tiny gains, they add up.
Precisely. It's all about minimizing those little losses in speed. And New Zealand, they've just seemed to have mastered that.
It's a huge factor because when you can maneuver your boat with that kind of confidence and precision,
right,
you're not afraid to push the boundaries. You make the first move, and you force your opponent to react.
Yeah.
It puts a ton of pressure on the other team. Going back to Ineos,
Yeah.
while the technical issues and the port boat circle are certainly significant hurdles,
Right.
it's also important to analyze some of the tactical decisions that they're making.
Let's see what happened and what team learned from their mistakes yesterday. GBR enters on port. And they go into the same wide circle, and New Zealand repeats attack pattern, but tacked and positioned notably higher than yesterday. And now they are in a strong position to attack, NZL on a starboard and GBR on port. NZL clearly debriefed yesterday and improved their attack.
Starboard, the right side, is better because you've got the right of way.
Meaning, sorry, not a sailor here.
Basically, if 2 boats are about to collide, the starboard boat has priority. Port boat has to yield.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're consistently being outmaneuvered in the port boat circle. Where can they find an advantage?
It might be time to embrace a little bit of risk-taking.
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, instead of trying to perfectly match Team New Zealand move for move.
Right.
Maybe they need to introduce an element of unpredictability.
So instead of sticking to the classics, they needed to throw in some curveballs.
Exactly.
Okay.
They could try varying their timing,
Right.
using more aggressive maneuvers.
Because right now, Team New Zealand knows what to expect.
Right, and they're prepared for it.
Right.
But if Ineos can introduce that element of surprise, force them to react instead of dictate,
Right.
it could really change the whole dynamic of that pre-start.
It's like a poker game.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a bluff to win big.
Sometimes you do.
Right?
And that might be just what Ineos needs to do. Shake things up.
Yep.
Keep Team New Zealand guessing. And maybe, just maybe, tip the scales in their favor.
Take some risks. Be unpredictable.
Yeah, playing it safe against a team like New Zealand, it's not going to cut it. You got to push, be bold, and hope for a little luck along the way.
A little bit of luck never hurts. And who knows, maybe we'll see Great Britain pull something out of the hat, turn this thing around. It's the America's Cup. Anything can happen. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, sometimes the most exciting battles, they're won before the race even begins.